What's up? So today I'm generally gonna make a video about common misconceptions and critiques about Buddhism, and I'm gonna try to sort of dismantle them, because I feel like Buddhism is one of those things that often gets severely misunderstood, because it's taken literally instead of a practice, a system of pointing, right? So I got a little list of misconceptions here, and I'm gonna go over each one and try to, as best as I can, dismantle them. Okay? I'm gonna try to be as clear as possible. I'm gonna be talking from direct seeing instead of some predetermined concepts in my head. So we're gonna try to do our best. And how I came to the idea of this video is I saw another YouTube video talking about debunking Buddhism and Hinduism and Eastern religions, and it was just filled with shallow understanding of these things and a bunch of misunderstanding, and I think that's actually pretty dangerous. It's a dangerous thing to spread because you're basically in a way keeping people from freedom by spreading misinformation about it, and that's dangerous. And I'm not blaming the person for it because they were running on misunderstanding and ignorance, but if there's videos that are spreading misinformation about Buddhism, I wanted to at least make one video that tries to debunk these misconceptions. Okay, that's the intro out of the way, so let's get to it. So first, I have some misconceptions about the goal of Buddhism. So first one, Buddhism is about being calm all the time. So a lot of people view the final goal of Buddhism is to kind of become emotionless or like unexpressive almost, right? Like no emotions. But the main goal of Buddhism is not having no emotions or not feeling stuff. It's about not clinging to emotions or feelings or arising. So everything is felt fully, nothing is rejected, it's just not clung to. And sometimes it's appropriate to express an emotion. That might be the most skillful thing. See, Buddhism is not about becoming some zombie, even though I may seem like one right now, but that's because I'm trying to like stay rooted in stillness so I can best present these things. But it's not about becoming some emotionless zombie. It's about not clinging to the experience, not clinging to it as me, mine, or myself, not clinging to it to last, but letting it happen and not holding it when it passes. And even that's actually not completely true, because it's not more not clinging, but it's seeing that there's no one who's clinging. But we'll get into that later. My main point is it's not about becoming some emotionless zombie. It's about not clinging to emotions. Next one, nirvana is like heaven. So a lot of people see nirvana as like some state, some blissful state, or some people even see it as like another dimension, kind of, almost, right? But nirvana is just the ending of clinging and the ending of suffering. That's it. It's not a state, it's not a goal. It's not achieved in the traditional sense of someone achieving something. It's just the ending of clinging and suffering. That's it. If anyone says it's anything else, that's not it. Enlightenment is total bliss forever. So some people think enlightenment or nirvana is just being blissed out and high on life forever. But no, it's just seeing things as they really are. That's it. Nothing more. Just seeing things as they really are. So yeah, just common misconceptions. I'm just correcting what it actually is, right? These are not really something to debunk. This is just people aren't read on it. You stop existing after enlightenment. So that's confusing the teaching of no self with nihilism. So Buddha said it's neither existence nor non-existence, because if you look closely, those things are just arising words. Let me just let this pass. Where is it? Anyways, they confuse no self with non-existence, right? No self means there's no permanent, enduring, existing self that persists, right? That does not mean non-existence. That means no thinginess, like nothing in the sense it's not a permanent, self-arising, unchanging, enduring thing, not non-existence. You lose your personality when awakened. That's basically thinking individuality or personality ends when the only thing that ends is identification with what's arising. So does the tree, if the tree was enlightened, would it stop being a tree? Would it stop being this tree instead of that tree? Now I'm using these words as provisionary, so there is no this or that tree. That's what I mean by this. It's not that anything changes, it's just seeing that concepts point, they don't define, that they're made up pointers, not absolute truths, and not clinging to them as real. Not that anything really changes. Now we have misconceptions about practice. Buddhism is just about meditation and enlightenment. No, it's also about ethics, wisdom, and daily mindfulness. See, because cultivating ethics and wisdom and generosity, that leads to a more wholesome state of mind, a more clear state of mind, which allows us to see things as they really are much easier because it's not veiled by strong things like greed, delusion, hatred, right? So it's not just about, the Buddhist practice is not just about meditation and enlightenment, it's also rooted in perfecting wisdom and ethics, because what good is seeing if it's not supported by the form, right? They go hand in hand, both, right? The practice is more to bring the mind into alignment with seeing. Meditation is more about seeing, and they support each other. A good, calm mind makes it easier to see, and seeing conditions ethics and wisdom, so they support each other. So if you ignore one, you slow down the other. They kind of go hand in hand. That's why the Buddhist practice is genius, because Buddha saw that doing certain practices eases the chance you're gonna drop into clear seeing, right? So that's why it's pretty good. Meditation means emptying your mind of all thoughts. So they're confusing mindfulness with a thoughtless trance state, right? Buddhist meditation, especially Vipassana, is more about observing the thoughts and feelings, seeing them as they are without judgment. Yeah, samadhi-focused meditation is kind of the goal of letting the thoughts settle, but it's not a goal of stopping thought. Thought stops by itself, like when you fall asleep, right? And it's not actually, the main goal is not stopping thoughts, it's seeing thoughts and feelings as they really are, right? Understanding thought. So it's understanding, examining, seeing directly, not stopping. You have to become a monk. A lot of people think lay people can't do Buddhist practice. That's just nothing more to say there. You can. A lot of insights come from daily life too, not just from meditation. You can just be mindful in your daily life and get a lot of good insights from that. You can only awaken if you're ascetic. So it's basically romanticizing asceticism and ignoring the wisdom of living your daily life normally and what comes from that, right? It's just another strong position some people can take. Karma means fate. So they mistake cause and effect conditioned by intention as predetermined, as things being predetermined. But let me explain like this. The only reason we think things are predetermined is because the past can be changed, right? But if you look at it, the past comes from the present. The present doesn't come from the past. It's now, then it's the past. So it's always now first, then the past. Not the past happens and then it's the present, right? Imagine it like a boat, right? A boat on a lake. It leaves behind a trail, right? But the trail doesn't determine where the boat can move. Only if the boat were to cling to the trail as I went in that direction before, I'm gonna keep going in this direction, does the past determine the present. So yeah, it's not determinism. Karma is not fate. Karma is just seeing cause and effect clearly and how certain things influence others. Rebirth is literal and the only valid view. I guess this ties in more loosely to taking the teachings as literal instead of skillful means to point at things. Rebirth can also be seen as a process that can be understood experientially, not just as a concept you die and you're reincarnated, but also you can see it as being reborn from moment to moment, whatever. It's not a definite term, it's a pointer. So you have to see it. It's more of an experience than a literal thing. Okay, here's some misunderstandings of key teachings. No self means nothing matters. So equating no self with moral apathy instead of compassion born from seeing through the illusion of self. See, people think realizing no self means, oh, nothing matters. They mistake it with nihilism. They mistake it with things like that. No. No self means, oh, there's no me. So greed, that's the root cause of greed, hatred, and delusion. If there is no self, then everything is self. Zero is infinity, get it? Even logic supports this, but I'm not trying to make it into a philosophy. I'm trying to say no self doesn't mean nothing matters. It means the opening the door for true compassion and love, not nothing matters, okay? That's a misconception, and some people are gonna feel like nihilistic nothing matters and think they realize no self, and that's a trap. True no self does not come with nihilism. It's a lived experience that comes with great compassion and love for others. Okay? Desire is bad. That's confusing craving and clinging with desire. See, desire itself is just another ripple in the lake of the mind. You know, it's a natural arising. You know, when you're hungry, it's a desire for food. Is that bad? No, you need sustenance sometimes, you know. Desire itself is not the trap. It's clinging to desires like, I need this. You know, you desire weed and you don't have weed and now you suffer because you feel like you need it. That's the trap. Clinging to desires, not desires themselves. So another thing, Buddha says desire is bad. That's often kind of misunderstood, right? Desire can lead to suffering only because we cling to them, not directly desire is bad, okay? Buddhism denies the world. Thinking that Buddhism rejects beauty and joy instead of stopping clinging to them. That's the whole point of this video. Mostly it's just people misunderstand what stopping clinging means. It's not rejecting beauty and joy. I don't think this forest is beautiful? And I love Buddhism, bro. It's about not clinging to beauty and joy as self-existent and as something an imaginary self needs to feel fulfilled. Basically, most people act out of lack. I need this to feel fulfilled. While Buddhists, true Buddhists, act out of joy and love. I feel so fulfilled. Let me do an expression of joy, an expression of love. It's expressing joy and love instead of needing joy and love to feel fulfilled. Get it? Sorry, I'm a little aggressive there, my bad. But yeah. Suffering means life is only pain. So it's misreading dukkha as only misery and pain. That's a feeling instead of its deeper meaning, which is unsatisfactoriness in conditioned phenomena. So it's not the feeling of pain is not suffering. It's wanting pain to stop is suffering. Rejecting pain is suffering. So clinging to pleasantness is suffering. Not the pain itself, but our rejection of the pain is suffering. That's very nuanced, but that's very important. Dependent origination is about the first cause of the universe or existence. It's mistaking dependent origination as a creation theory instead of seeing it as describing how illusion and suffering arise. So dependent origination just describes how suffering arises. I'm gonna break it down here for you because I wanna. So there's just a non-dual experience. Again, I'm labeling stuff, I'm lying right now, okay? I'm kind of lying, I'm pointing. And dependent origination means experience gets mistaken for out of ignorance, right? There's ignorance, and then the ignorance is separation, me and the world. And out of that arises name and form. I'm Micha, that is the world. And it has forms, and I have a form. And out of that arises I'm conscious. So because of separation, now there's a me and there's a world, and this me is conscious of the world. Get it? Dependent origination is a projection on an empty appearance, not how appearance starts appearing, okay? I'm going a little fast. I can make videos about all of these, and each would be like 15 minutes long at least. I'm trying to go through a lot of misconceptions, make this a very short video, and in the comments, if you want me to go deep into any of this, let me know. Of course, I'm not going to say everything perfectly that everyone's going to understand. I'm trying my best, but yeah. Buddha was a god. That's cultural and historical misconception. No, Buddha was not a god. He was a person who saw things as they really were. He was a great teacher. He wasn't a god. He's not worshipped, he's respected. Buddhism is pessimistic because it starts with suffering, right? So people miss that it's actually optimistic because it gives you liberation. It's talking about liberation from suffering. It's saying there's a light, there's a way out. It's just another religion. Overlooking that Buddhism is not a system of worship, of deities, of anything. Overlooking that it's a system of training and understanding the mind instead of worshiping something, right? It's not really a religion. It's a system of understanding mind and appearance and seeing and all of that. It only counts as religion because it's more spiritual than concerning with matter and measurement, right? It's more about observing. Buddhism doesn't believe in God, so it's atheism. Here's the other one. Buddhism doesn't deny gods. It just doesn't incorporate them in the system. So it's not atheistic and it's not religious. It's a system for seeing clearly and understanding the mind. All Buddhists follow the same teachings. Essentially, yes, that's not really a misconception, but there's different traditions, Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana, which have different expressions of the same teachings. So because the truth is not static, it's moving, it's free, right? So there's different ways it can express, and there's a bunch of Buddhisms focusing on different expressions of it, right? Like the Arahat, the Bodhisattvas, the Zen master, whatever, Rigpa. There's so many different ways, and they all talk about the same seeing, but different expressions of the same seeing. It's beautiful. And then we have modern and Western specific critiques. It's escapism for people who can't deal with reality. Nope, it's actually facing reality as it is without illusion. So it's not escaping reality, it's diving so deep that you understand it so deeply that suffering can't arise anymore. So it's not escaping reality, it's seeing reality clearly. So it's even Western culture is coping and escaping reality with drugs, with entertainment, with stimulation. That's escaping reality. Buddhism drops all that and makes you face the raw, naked reality. It's much more real. Mindfulness is just stress reduction. So the corporate watered-down version strips away the liberation aspect of mindfulness. Mindfulness is not meant to reduce stress. It's meant to see things clearly. So it's about liberation, not about reducing stress. Oh, I gotta turn on my... There we go. Buddhism is pacifist and never defends itself. So that's misreading compassion as passivity, right? It's not passive. Otherwise, I wouldn't make this video if I was passive. Think about that. Buddhism is anti-science. That's just basically missing how most of Buddhism is just observing and experiencing things as they really are. So it's much more closely tied to science than you may think. It's observing things, seeing things, right? You understand? It's not about escaping, it's seeing and understanding. That's pretty scientific to me. You have to believe in reincarnation or magic for it to work. So that's mistaking the skillful cultural layers. So skillful means skillful expressions for the essence of the Dhamma, when the essence of Dhamma is just clear seeing of things as they really are. You don't have to believe in anything. The Buddha didn't even say believe me. He said see for yourself. That's about it for the misconceptions. Thanks for watching. I hope I could clear some misconceptions. If I was bad at explaining them, ask me in the comments what I explained poorly. If you have any critiques, so I can maybe explain it better, maybe make another video expanding on it. I was trying to cover everything. That's why I was going through it a little bit faster. Of course, I didn't cover everything, but I tried to cover as broad a spectrum as I could. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. See you in another video. Bye.